Welcome back to the movement, everybody. I gotta say, man, I feel like I got a little bit of ring rust, but I've been graced with this gentleman's presence.
Oh, man.
No introductions necessary. It's Denzel Washington, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know about all that, bro.
Yo, let's be honest. Does he not look like Denzel Washington?
100%.
Yeah, I got a lot of LeBron James look, though.
Right? Nah, G. Right now, you're not
Denzel?
LeBron James.
Honor.
But
It's an honor.
he's a legend, though.
My absolute favorite.
Didier,
My absolute favorite.
the legend. Bishop Empire in the house. And, of course, we got George Silva. We brought him back, you know what I mean? Try to bring some controversy
My
back.
OG.
You know what I mean? Always get to have the brother, even though we just saw you at the gym, G.
Straight up.
We want to know
man.
all about Mr. DG.
Mr. Didier, man. Thanks for having me, first and foremost.
Always a pleasure. We're family.
Love seeing my boys, get up on the ladder.
Can we start off with a little bit of what's crazy?
Background, eh?
Yeah, it's friggin' crazy, bro, because I'm trying to cut out the swearing, bro. It's been so bad. I've been like
I know, bro. I'm trying to do my thing not to cuss, too.
But what's crazy, bro, if you really think about it, man, I've known you since, 15, 16?
Yeah, bro. Like, we're in
Damn,
grade,
that long.
Grade
No way.
10?
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
grade 10.
And then we started working out at the YMCA.
Good old
I have
old
to
school.
say, bro, this
Old
guy was a
school.
monster football player.
We were trying, bro. We were trying.
I was just a friggin' high school dropout, bro, to be very honest with you.
Hey, man, but look at you now, though. Look at you now.
Respect, G. I only
Amazing.
joined the team just so I can get out of class, but this man was dedicated.
Hey, man. You know what? We had to do what we had to do at the end of the day, right? So, yeah, it was cool, man. Back in the day, I was actually thinking about this. You saying this?
Crazy.
I was like, this is full circle. When you say, what, like 15 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We're
High
the
school.
same age, 33?
33, yeah. Trying to grind
That's
out,
crazy, bro.
It's interesting to be able to go back and like think about what the mindset was back in the day to like see where we're at now. And it's funny some of the stuff that we did back in the day, right?
Bro,
But,
it was lovely though, man.
hey man, it was fun. It was fun.
It was a blast.
The responsibilities now, it's we don't joke no more now. You know
Oh,
what
no,
I mean?
yeah, that's
So,
it. You're stuck, bro. You're married.
Gotta do
Crazy
kids.
Bro, crazy part is, George? Out of nowhere, I saw him at I see this guy, bro. I'm at with the Movati.
Mm-hmm.
Probably should cut that one out. I don't want people showing up to the gym being
Yeah,
like,
like, hey,
You know what I mean?
I know you.
pull up, bro. What the Didier?
This was what, like how many months ago was this now?
a few months ago.
That was like a couple months ago.
yeah.
You know, I thought you guys met at the gym.
No,
I know, but
this
like,
OG.
way
that's
back,
crazy.
It's
and we haven't seen each other since.
like literally 15 years ago.
yeah, bro.
Wow.
2 months ago was a reconnection.
You know what I mean?
But,
You had
yeah,
nicer hair back in the days. You know what I
Oh
mean?
damn, man! Like, listen, I'm owning the look now, baby. The beard, the bald look. You know what I'm saying? But funny enough, I was actually showing somebody this, on Instagram how you obviously got some trend always going on, and this is probably like last year. There was the the 10-year challenge or whatever there was going on
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
bit,
yeah.
and it was like in the high school, and then 10 years later, this is where you at. But yeah, talking about no hair, boy was full of hair.
Full
And
afro,
then
huh?
full afro,
Love
everything,
it.
bro.
Forget
And
about the
then now-
afro. He was jacked. We definitely got to
He goes,
chuck up.
yeah.
We got to chuck up a
Little
picture of this
photo
shawty
in there.
boy.
I'll send you some. But
I
man,
got
honestly,
jealous, bro.
it's crazy to even think to that point in my life what the lifestyle was, man. It was cool to be able to have that look and understand the dedication I was able to put in to be able to get to that point. But it was a lot of work. It was
Oh,
a lot of
for
work. I
sure,
don't think
bro.
a lot of people actually like us. Obviously, the fact that we work out, we understand the actual like amount of energy that you gotta put in for that. But most people see that it's just like damn, but then not to be able to like think deeper into like what goes into being able to look like that.
For sure.
It's a lot, man. Because I remember literally like where this Thanksgiving, sitting there in my Tupperware, eating,
The grind.
yeah, bro,
Oh
the
my
grind.
God.
Like I'm telling you, the training part was easy because it always came with football or whatever, right? But yeah, man, the eating, the dedication. But I guess at the end of the day, like it still sort of came about the way it was supposed to, just because like I won shows or whatever. But it was a lot of work. But then, long story short, at that it sort of caught up. You know what I mean? Mentally.
Oh,
Like,
did it?
Yeah, man. Just the fact that like everyone is just not in that space. So you literally the only one doing it. You know what I mean? Like at least close, like family, close circle. Because I didn't really I had friends doing the same thing, but no one close to be able to like on a day to day be able to exchange like, yo,
Yeah.
things are good. You know what I mean? But to be able to look back and be like, yo, I did this. It's like a little good job, buddy. You know
Nah,
what
at
I
this
mean?
point, he's regretting it. He's like, now they're going to be like, look at you.
Yo, let me tell you, every day at the
Thanks,
gym,
man.
yo, at the gym, and like everyone's like, this is you? I'm like, It's weird now because I'm like, shit, like, should I not be showing these anymore? Just 'cause, like, you know what I mean?
You
I
look
know,
that
like,
different.
It's different, bro.
No.
I'll pull up a photo right now. You'd be like,
bro, please.
it's different, man. Let me
We
try.
have
Do you
to,
have
bro.
Facebook? I don't have Facebook on my phone right now. Like, if you
Of
literally
course he
go
doesn't
on
have
my
Facebook.
Facebook right now, the first photo, you'll be like,
Huh?
oh, damn. All right, I see what it was. But yeah, no,
That different. No
It's
way.
very different, very different. Like right now, just kind of give you perspective for anybody who like has an idea on how like body composition works. Like right now, I'm probably like 250. I would step on stage at 185, 187.
Ripped.
Dude, I look like I was I look bigger than what I look like right now. Like
You
just
got
because
the
like
Caribbean
muscle
genes, bro.
density,
Yep.
right? But yeah, bro, it's gotten to the point where I'm like, should I be showing people this? But we're in a different point of our life right now. And it's one thing, funny enough, I actually said this to somebody either yesterday or a couple days ago. You sacrifice one thing at one point in your life and you just go through seasons and it's just, you got something else you're grinding on. You know what I mean? It may not necessarily be, actually, no, it's not even talking to somebody about that. I saw this on Instagram. So this chick.
Should have just owned it.
Right, I should have. But this girl, she's a like gymnast, acrobat or something like that. And then she literally put 5 years ago what she was able to do to 5 years later. And she was getting into these crazy deep stretches. And then 5 years later, she's not even able to do them. She's trying to perform them again, and she can't. Yeah. And the caption was the kicker in this. She's like, I'm not trying to beat myself up on this just because I can't do what I was able to do before. It comes down to like, what are you focusing on now, right? You're obviously not gonna be able to do the same thing you were if you're not putting in the same amount of energy. And as life goes, we're just different priorities. You know what I mean? Like we talk about it. I got kids, family. Now we're trying to grind on business. You know what I mean? So like, not to say like I don't miss competing or anything like that, but it's a different phase of life now we're focused.
Bro, I think honestly, what you just said is huge. Because even as an example, I was in great shape. I was jacked.
Yo, we were all at that point one time, man.
And, yeah, man. And then I remember when I finally started going back. So after I had the car accident, and then I'm like, you know what? Finally, I get cleared. I get to go back to the gym. And I'm like, yo, you missed that feeling, right? We were in there every day. We were warriors, bro.
Grinding.
Yeah,
and it was fun. You weren't even thinking about it.
And then I remember when my favorite day is shoulder days.
Yep.
And then I go to pick up some dumbbells to do some presses. I'm like, man, what is this ring rust? This is heavy, man.
Bro.
Are you kidding, bro? 40 pounds is heavy? I used to warm up on like 90s, 100.
Easy.
Warm up.
Easy. I know
and
exactly.
And then that whole mentality kicks in. You start beating yourself up. It's the easiest way to just demotivate and kick yourself out of the gym.
Well, that's what you tell me all the time, right?
Yeah, well, you got to go with the motions. I just think it's a fantastic idea. You know what's crazy, D? What I'm trying to wrap my head around is I want to know the story because I know at some point you were playing professional ball and then after that, you caught your injury.
Yeah.
And then now you're trying to do Bishop Empire, which big ups to you. You know what I mean? You ever want to do a mob theme, bro? Let me know, bro. I'll be I want to be the co-star, bro. I'll be the Don Corleone for you.
Don Corleone, bro.
Where did you come up with from football mindset and then, tell me about Bishop Empire, bro?
So, man, the come up, great question, by the way. The come up was a grind, still is a grind, but it was always one of those, the status quo was never something that aligned with just me as a person. Just intrinsically, we've talked about this before. I was like 9 to 5, go to school, get an education, go to post-secondary, find something that's popping in the sense of like, private sector, whatever, government, and then get a family, blah, blah, blah. That just never resonated with me. It was always like that. I remember going to the business camps and I said, I'm going to play professional football, then I want to own my business. So that was always the mindset. So, I mean, it came to that. It's football, and if it just wasn't in the cards, injuries, shoulders, dislocations, separation, concussions.
What's the injury that took you out?
The main one, funny enough, so I never had any crazy lower body in a sense of like ACL tears or anything like that, right? And yeah, MCL, broken bones or anything like that. It was one of those tedious things where like it would be reoccurring every week. I mean, literally, I was at the physio at the Ottawa U, literally like every 2 weeks or something.
You're a baller, bro. That's expensive.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
For a young guy, man,
A lot. So it came down to that. I had to make a decision. It was like, do I want to keep doing this where I'm putting so much effort? And I mean, like at one point you got to start thinking like, okay, the dream was pro, like, so then to that extent, am I gonna be able to even do well to even get when I get to that point? So I had to make that decision. It was tough. Like, it was one of the hardest things because like we talk about like pro athletes now, like not being able to even like know when to kind of like let it go. This is done where because it's your body taking you out as opposed to like mentally you being checked out when it comes to sports or whatever, right? So it's tough, but I had to make that decision. And once I did, it was one of those, what's next? Like what my identity was sports. It's huge. It's a big thing when it comes to like athletes or enter any industry where it requires you to really be breathing that thing for such a good chunk of your youth. That becomes your identity. So it's like once that's done, it's like, what am I doing next, right?
Facts.
So lifting was always obviously hand in hand with football. So I was really strong, whatever. So I'm like, damn, I don't want to lift just to lift. It's just never appealed to me to just be a power lifter or whatever. And so I figured, all right, bodybuilding. So I had a few friends that was kind of in and out of that. P.S. Later, we got to talk about, you remember Amir? I thought about him. I was like, wait, I'm pretty sure you went to SRB. But anyway, so Amir was in and around, like in my circle back then, seeing him competing and all that. I'm like, okay, all right, maybe there's something I can do.
He looked great though.
He looked amazing,
looked great,
right?
man.
Really good. So it was, again, one of the first close people. I'm just like, all right, like it's becoming mainstream. So you remember bodybuilding, you'd only see that stuff in like magazines.
Yes, sir.
It seems so taboo, right? Like Arnold, all that stuff. And then you start seeing more people doing it. So this in and out like 2013 when competing is becoming a thing, right? So I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe I might just do that. So hence where we got to the whole physique situation. And fast forward to now in Bishop Empire, to answer your question. It sort of brings us back to like almost full circle with the beginning of what the mindset was in terms of what I wanted to do and not do. So it came with like, all right, this brand, like I really feel like I want to help other people who share that same mindset, same value on life in terms of not wasting it by just doing what everyone's expecting you to do. All right. So I was like, Bishop, what can I do with that? Like I love chess, right? I love playing chess. So I looked at the board. I don't even know what day I came up with that in the sense of how it clicked, but I started meditating around that time, trying to really be like wholesome in terms of just life quality. We talk about physical, obviously. So then I was getting to the point where mentally I wanted to make sure I start sharpening the mind here. So I started meditating. There's a few guys online I was following in fitness who was also kind of like dabbing in. Mike Rashid, I don't know if you know who Mike Rashid is. I do. So Mike Rashid was a big guy with like when it comes to meditating, taking care of the mind and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, I'll try that out. So I started doing that, and then I was able to connect. I was able to click in with that subconscious mind, as they call it. Big book, if anybody loves to
love that
Think
book.
and Grow Rich. Amazing book.
Napoleon Hill.
But yeah, man. So I was like, you know what? Like, definitely want to create a brand to be able to help people who's in that same mindset as me, right? So Bishop, I looked at the board. Every piece you look at, minus the queen is just the badass, right? Let's move that away for a second. You have every other piece is moving up, down, side to side, one move at a time. You get your horse. I always forgot the name of that.
Don't ask me, bro. I don't play chess.
What's the horse's name on the board? Oh, you got your rook, your bishop. It's a knight. The knight would be doing the L move, but yeah, it's still up, side, wherever.
I'm sick
right?
and tired of Sean, to be honest. This guy always has an ace.
Sean knows all the answers.
Spanish.
Spanish,
Every random fact you'll know.
He
I don't
knows
know
it. You know, hey, Sean, you the real one, bro.
Wikipedia.
But yeah, so I figured, all right, try to figure out that whole sort of like branding and fitting it with like a chess theme. Bishop moved diagonally, and the whole thing in my head, I'm like, I don't like to move with the crowd. I don't like the status quo. I don't like to just go with the herd. I want to move diagonally. I'm like, you know, I kind of like that. So something that has to do with Bishop, and me, I guess, being the lead on the movement. I was like, okay, the people, the mass who's trying to be about that movement, what we call them, it's an empire we're trying to build. Bishop, move diagonally, empire. Bishop Empire. That sounds pretty solid, you know what I mean? So like hence the name birth, right?
I like that.
And then we figured out, it was me and my homeboy was doing that. So we figured out a slogan with that, which is dare to disrupt. And it's to disrupt.
You didn't say that last time.
I didn't mention that last time. So that, yeah, so like we started making the whole clothing. So I had like the dare to disrupt in the back, a nice scoop bottom, amazing stuff.
Bad,
amazing stuff. and then the logo at the front. But yeah, Dare to Disrupt, which is exactly what it is. We're trying to move away from the status quo. We're trying to be rebels, but in the best way possible, obviously. And hence the birth of Bishop Empire. So now what do we get with that, right?
But where was the light bulb moment where you're like,
that was essentially, well, I mean, the light bulb moment was like, I understood like what I wanted to do in the ways of helping other people that's in the same boat as me, trying to figure life out, not knowing exactly what that next move is, but at the same time knowing exactly where I'm not trying to be.
100%.
My bad, I shouldn't have interrupted you. Keep going, because then we'll get clarity.
Yeah, 100%, no stress. But yeah, so I mean, essentially that's what that light bulb moment was. It's almost one of those, like, it wasn't like a ding, it was more like a gradual, the light started sort of like brightening up as I kind of went into the figuring out aspect of the brand, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we're trying to figure out exactly like what exactly are we bringing into the market, if you will, through that brand. And so we talked about clothing, YouTube channel where we would do like motivational videos, clothing. I mean, the whole nine. Like, we really sort of like wanted to set a base foundation to be able to like get the brand out there, and then sort of like start to really tune in with the quality of the content in terms of like information, whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's Bishop Empire right there, man.
Well, the clothing, was it more urban wear? Was
it would have been urban wear. So like, obviously, like I say, it would have been that had to take a hiatus, because like when it comes to suppliers and things like that, we're still trying to figure all that stuff out.
It's hard, huh?
It's tough, man. Because then now we're in a niche where clothing, especially from the fitness industry, everyone's got a clothing line, you know what I mean? So it really comes down to like, what's making your clothing better than the next clothing. So it's almost like not even about clothing per se.
It's all branding.
It's about branding, you know what I mean? Like, I'll shout out a few brands that I've come to appreciate. So things like Gymshark, Alphalete. Alphalete's one of the big ones, because the guy that started it, Christian Guzman, I started following him because of my fitness journey, from when he had like, I mean, not to say nothing, but like had nothing in the sense of branding. And then he built his way up with that, and it's just to see what that looks like. It's crazy, but that's what it is. It's the brand that's selling, as opposed to the clothing or the tangible itself. You know what I mean? So I figured, as much as people start to understand what the movement's about, what the message is about, then clothing, no clothing, someone's gonna mess around with your brand at the end of the day, just like you're doing here. Like, amazing stuff. You know what I mean?
We're on the road to kingship. That's
exactly. Amazing. Say exactly what it is. So someone's gonna look at this and be like, I love the value I'm getting out of that, the information I'm getting out of that, being able to elevate your game in any aspect of life, whatever industry it may be, being able to just grab things, which is what we're trying to do. So the clothing was just like a bonus on that. But it would have been, it will be streetwear. So like I mentioned, we only started doing the prototype for like the scoop bottom. It's like a nice white tee. It's like a fishtail slit on the side, and it's just clean. I'll bring one next time for you. I got a few of that. But yeah, no, it's been a journey, to say the least. You know what I mean? And we're still climbing, we're still learning. It's one thing I realized, I mean, long ago. It's you're never done learning. You know what I mean? The moment you tell yourself that,
fact.
it's regressing. There's no such thing. I've bare discussions about this. You decide to not learn. This life either goes like this or like that. You're not stagnant. You're never gonna stay in where you're at that moment. You're regressing or you're progressing. That's always what it is. So we're always learning from people like you, dog. And that's the funny thing. So talking about like a full circle, 15 years and we seen each other and we're chatting and come like, yo, you did this? Like, damn, I'm proud. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. It's elevating, keep on moving, keep on stepping, bro.
You know what's crazy that you say that last part about you're always learning? I find the danger zone is when you're comfortable.
100%.
Because then it creeps up and then the downfall happens.
Completely.
Every single time.
Completely.
I'm guilty of it, by the way. Don't think I'm not guilty of it.
We all get to that point where we get too comfortable, and I'm learning to be able to get to the point where some of my guys that I follow, mentors, so to speak, that get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I mean, if you really break down that line, dude, that's hard to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's always like a state of survival. You're trying to, you know what I mean? Figure like the next thing to like elevate on, which is what it should be. But we live in a generation where it's like, it's doing the opposite. I mean, think about it. Every business, where it comes to Amazon, trying to make life easier without you having to go to the store to pick up something. TV shows. It used to be once a week. Speaking of, we're talking about how we're guilty of certain things. Like, I remember back in the day, you'd wait once a week for whatever show you enjoyed watching, right?
And now you have
That's
Netflix.
a-
Where you can watch the whole
bro,
thing
it's
in
so bad because
a
now
week.
it's, bro,
Yeah.
there are multiple episodes, so now you completely, what do you call that, binge watching it.
Yeah.
So now when it's done, you're like, it's like a fucking crack.
You know what I mean? You're
bro.
like, I
It's
can't wait for
what's
the next episode.
the next hit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's become one of those situations where you fall to the trap of capitalism. And I say this because capitalism is beautiful. At the same time, it's also, if you don't know how to utilize capitalism, it can become detrimental too, because it's corporations that are out here trying to do the thing just like we are, trying to make money. I don't know if I can speak to them and try to make the world a better place, but I know we are. So then when you take that aspect out, then it takes a lot of quality of life away again.
Man, that's it.
Completely.
Bro, it's a banger what you just said.
Completely.
Because the thing is nowadays I'm realizing a lot of these younger entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate that term, by the way.
No, what, entrepreneur?
Everybody and their
Everyone's
mom's
an entrepreneur,
bro.
man.
I can have a friggin' Amazon FBA store and say I'm an entrepreneur, bro.
Yep.
So at this point, I say I'm a businessman. You know what I mean?
Straight up.
But the crazy part is I find a lot of things now are stemming off values.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these young businessmen or people that are up and coming or whatever, they're actually pushing the envelope this time with values.
That's it.
You know, so I find this generation is very interesting. It's funny because I had this conversation with my sister. My oldest sister, she's 43, right? In her time, it was basically shut your mouth, keep your head low,
Keep
do
on
what you're
stepping.
told.
That's it.
You know, high school, post-secondary, get a job, work, retire, pick a fence, shut your mouth.
Done.
Don't make waves. And then now you have this new generation that's coming out
I love
that are making waves.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You're daring to disrupt.
The crazy part, like as an example, like if this was the older generation, and then you see all these issues now with the Israel-Palestine issue, and now with all the encampments in the university, people are really standing up and making their voices heard, being
Big
like,
time.
you know what,
I'm
we
seeing
need
this in the States a lot too.
100%. But the movement started in the UK. But the interesting part is the whole point of the conversation. Is if this was the older generation, they wouldn't have said nothing, bro.
Completely.
They basically kind of just speak amongst themselves and then shut it down at the door.
Done.
You know what I mean?
Done.
And then if you think about it, majority of the people that were making waves, even with like the trucker convoy, the convoy, the
everything
COVID
with
stuff,
the younger generation.
it's becoming this generation. Now, when I say
Facts,
younger,
I
I'm not
agree.
saying 10, 15 years old.
Yeah. Let's
It's-
call it like 20, 30s. You know what I mean?
in the range of the 20s and to 35s.
Yeah.
That's where you're really starting to see a lot of that's happening, right? So I find it's a very interesting era. And it's crazy enough, man. Patrick Bet-David was saying last year, man.
Legend.
Patrick, yeah. So Patrick Bet-David was saying last year, watch 2024 is going to be the year of accountability. And
I think I actually saw that video.
Yeah, bro, right?
Yeah.
And
Facts.
everything is coming out full circle,
Completely.
right?
Completely. Those who put in their dues, like
Yeah.
you're starting to get dividend back on that 100%.
And one of the things I'm finding interesting, G, you know, speaking of entrepreneurs and everything else that we're talking about, one of the big things I'm starting to see nowadays, and I don't know if you probably pay attention to the market and what's going on around, but a lot of things and a lot of people that came out and they were just very flagrant and just loud and obnoxious, and I did this and this is this. The whole fake it till you make it scheme.
Nah, going
It's
work,
no
huh?
longer working.
It
It's
ain't gonna
crazy
work.
how even marketing is changing.
Changed completely.
Because everyone is so sick and tired of being duped.
Mhm.
Just give me the real shit.
That's
You
it.
know what I mean? That's all we're asking for.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
I don't
don't
agree.
mind it
I
at all,
agree.
and I'm actually enjoying it.
Yeah, and it's funny you say this because I think that movement itself really stems from social media, which we always talk about has its pros and cons, right? So I think in the same breath as saying so many people get to have a platform to be able to just, I mean, let's be real. Some people just be yapping on some BS, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it makes it hard to have to dig through the real stuff. But we get people, advocates of truth, people like us trying to come out and really dig through that and help people see the truth for what it actually is. So, and then that's right on that same platform that people are using it for like more like of that negativity aspect of it, right? So, and then speaking on this thing you mentioned about everybody's an entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah.
And their moms.
And their mothers, you know
and
what I
their
mean?
gardeners and their uncles.
Everybody's doing something. And you know who said this? And when I first heard it, and I was like, yo, I never really looked at it like that. And it's so true. So another legend, Gary Vee, he mentioned that. He said almost, I swear, word for word. Everybody and their mothers, do cusses a lot too. He's like, everybody and their mothers is entrepreneur. And he said, listen, especially in a country we deem as a capitalism, right? Capitalistic society. He mentioned that, listen, for us to be able to have this hierarchy, there needs to be the dude that's flipping the burger. There needs to be the dude that's taking out the garbage.
I agree.
Somebody's got to do that.
I agree.
Not everybody's meant to be a CEO, man. There's somebody that's meant to be a great number 2, great number 3, great number 4. Then find out if that's you, then own that, be that.
Gary Vee said that?
He said that, bro. He's like, everybody's trying to be everybody trying to do it, bro. So
I agree, man. Like as an example, years ago, my father used to say, just because you might be a great brother doesn't mean you're a great father.
100%.
Everybody plays
deep.
different.
That's
Everybody
deep. That's
plays
deep.
Everybody plays different roles.
Completely.
Completely different, and some excel more than others at that role. So so when you find the one that's so well rounded, it's a triple threat. You know what I mean? So that gentleman's special. But the norm
you don't get that. Yeah, that's not something you get often at all. It's unfortunate. I realize as you're saying this, some people are very much like, you have your gift in front of you, and you're so stuck on, again, hitting on how social media sometimes can be a little is people not realizing that this is a snapshot of most people's lives, right? And you get the people that try to be transparent and really put out and showing that, okay, as much as I'm doing this and it looks like I'm happy, that I do go through this as well, right? And life gets hard, crying, blah, 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 all this stuff. But to the most part, it's very much something that I think people need to understand, that what you see is not what it
actually is.
It's not what it is. So social media has this part where people are trying to focus so much on like what this guy does, what that guy does, as opposed to, yo, this is my gift and let's focus on that and really put let's time 10x that. And
Absolutely.
people completely forget their life back there because they're focused on Kim Kardashian over here. So
Yeah, I agree.
it's very tough to be able to come across situations like that when you're the guy that's really being about you and trying to elevate you. And I saw my boy posted a quote today. He said, God made you different for a reason. Act like it. You know what I mean? Because everybody's trying to be the same. It's like, dude, just do you, be you. And I get sometimes that like it's not lavish and all that, but at the end of the day, the life you got is the life you got. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to do the best with it. So
it's crazy you say that, man. It's remember you heard the term pocket watching while you pocket watching? It's basically
That's
the
what
same
it
in
is.
reverse. You know what I mean?
That's
So a
what it
lot of
is.
people sit there and they want to gauge their lives. I think social media, man, it's crazy. We come from the era of we really didn't
got
use
both.
it.
We got both, right? We got all of it, and we got we were clear on what it looked like before social media was a thing. I remember the first iPhone when it came out.
Yeah, man. Yes.
Crazy,
Yes.
bro.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? Make it even worse. You'll trip hearing this. So I bring the kids to like museums, whatever. And which one did I go to? Science and Tech. I went to this like last year. I was like, hold up. I walked in there. You know the first thing I saw? An iPod.
Holy.
An iPod. I mean, most people now probably don't even know what that is.
iPods are crazy. The
Right?
big bricks.
Yo, I don't think people know what, like, this generation now, anybody like born after 2009, like my little brother, like wouldn't know
That's
what the hell an
crazy, bro,
iPod
the
is.
iPods.
But that's in the new museum now, bro.
Get out of
That
here.
is literally
At the
in
Tech Museum?
Yeah, bro. It's literally like it's a thing. Like it's so old that it's in the museum.
That's insane.
Straight up, the first generation iPod. I'm like, yo, wait, am I that old? Straight up, I walked in there, I saw this, I was like, no way, bro.
It's crazy.
I
to say
still
that.
got one that's literally functioning at home. I remember my mom got me for Christmas.
Those things were bulletproof.
Amazing, bro.
Bulletproof.
Amazing. Now they don't make them. They don't make them the same. Right?
you
No,
know,
now
Steve-
it's like they're so thin.
Do they even make-
I
do
have
they
no,
make
I
those
think
now?
they stopped. I'm not completely sure.
I
I
thought
don't
that's
even
to get
know.
an iPhone, and they have the iPhone
Yeah.
SEs and whatever.
I literally remember having the iPods ended up sort of like graduating to different versions where it looked like a phone too.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right, they're huge.
That's
And
true.
I had two. I had the actual phone and
And then
the iPod that looks like a phone in my pocket.
Yeah.
I'm at the gym. My pocket's heavy. Like I got phone and iPod
I'm
in there,
still
bro.
waiting for the one thing for D to say, bro.
What?
The truth of the matter is, if you thought lighters was the most stolen item, at that time it was the iPods,
bro. Oh my god.
They were getting robbed
left,
right,
and right,
yeah.
bro. Left
you
and
had
right.
to sew that shit in your chest like a pacemaker, bro.
Yeah, straight up.
Otherwise, it's getting robbed.
Done, bro. You
Oh
getting
my
robbed for your
God.
shoes. You know, you have an iPod in you. That's leaving too,
That's
bro.
crazy.
That's
You just
some
brought
stuff.
up
But I'm
freaking
like, straight,
iPods.
I seen this in the museum. I was like, no damn way. But just to kind of like put that in retrospect, like it's just how technology has advanced so much, bro. So like bringing it back to Bishop Empire and just like kind of business in general. I do think we can't move forward without technology, without Amazon. It's just a way of life. Now we got AI to take into consideration.
I find AI crazy.
It's insane.
Actually
It's insane, bro. Like
It
I'm
is.
seeing some of the stuff people are doing with it. I do have this little thing I'm trying to utilize it with and being able to sort of like promote my, that's so much to talk about, like my writing and screenwriting endeavors. But yeah, there's this one guy, he was able to utilize it, I mean, almost full capacity. And to see how he did it, it was just mesmerizing.
Bro,
Like,
whoa, 1 second. You can't do that, bro.
Why?
You can't just go back to and not tell them what you're doing now. You stop that clothing. What's the next part of Bishop Empire?
So Bishop Empire, I mean, that's
So
the
now
next,
after the clothing,
right? So we got the clothing. I actually got a little something too with
we got to get the
Jewelry?
audience back on track. here.
You know what I mean? A little Bishop Empire.
You know
thing
what's
on there,
crazy?
too.
I was gonna like after we were finished, I was gonna ask you where you got
about
that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Like, I got that made custom, baby. But yeah,
Yeah, give me one, bro. Give me one. Let me roll one. While we're doing
only
this
one
pod.
has the written word on it though. The
Let
other
me
one's
see
just,
this. Hold on. Let me see this.
They got a little. One's got Bishop Empire. The other one's just like little color matching. You know? Yeah, man. Appreciate that,
Gotta
brother.
rock your
Appreciate
brand.
that. Always.
So after the clothing, what did we do, Mr.
So
Didi?
I mean, the next thing. So Bishop Empire, when we were getting it off the ground, the one thing we did, we discussed was making sort of like an introduction video, and man, I fell in love with making that piece. I think it might have been a 3-minute video. It was it was a short project, as they would call it. But realizing one thing is putting something like that together, even a 3-minute video, man, a lot of work, especially if the content is dense and a whole lot is being shown in there. So imagine, right? We're putting out a brand. So like we have to figure out exactly, and not a too long video, not too short, where we can like fit exactly what we need to fit in there. So we brainstormed and sort of figure out exactly what we're gonna do.
yeah.
And in the process of making this video, man, I fell in love with it. It's just the writing, because there's a voiceover, plus a little music, and just that voiceover. I had to write the script on that, and I don't know what it. You know what we're talking about, like the light that just flickered. That part,
That's the light bulb
that
moment,
light bulb
eh?
flicked on that aspect when it comes to the writing part.
Yeah.
Clicked right away, and then the directing of it and having, okay, you do this, you do that. I'm straight directing, right? It's just, it was fun. And the better part, to being able to look back and see all that hard work you put in to kind of see it flourish and see what the end product looks like. It was great.
And you're like, it looks fantastic.
Fantastic. And I was like, man, I just think that, because, I mean, again, we're trying to move and figure out the next step, right? Bishop Empire had different facets, but we had to keep looking at different ways to make it better.
Yeah.
Different ways to offer more value within that. So the next thing was Bishop TV or Bishop Production. We're still kind of trying to nail that down.
Right.
But yeah, man, it was like, you know what? I love the writing. I think that might just be something God is trying to, instill in me. And funny enough about things that like doing things or things happening to you and you not knowing why they happen. As a kid, we'll come back to this, I promise. It's just a little tangent.
I'm enjoying this right now.
Like,
I love it.
It's funny because I'm looking back and it's like, it's a cool little journey for me to even look back at it. So I'm sure you guys will appreciate this.
Yeah.
You grow up, a lot of things happen in life you never understand, good or bad. And you never understand why they happen.
You grow older and then you understand.
And then
100%.
sometimes some people go their whole life and not even realize at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that a few of these things, I'm like, whoa, I think I'm still speculating, but I'm almost positive. I'm like, this is why all these happen. Because it didn't make sense standing in out of nowhere. Like a few of these things that sort of are close to each other came to this thing, and then now it all makes sense together. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is exactly why those things happen.
Yeah.
I was always an artsy kid. Before sports, I was always an artsy kid. I remember drawing Pokemon, bro, like Pikachu, Ash. I'm drawing all these things in elementary school in Haiti. Love music, love movies. So growing up in Haiti, I have like a lot of family in the States. So I'd always go see my aunt, or if my mom goes and we didn't go, like she'd bring like Disney movies and things like that.
Yeah.
Loved all these things, right? But you kind of grow out of that and you go into this, you do that. You don't realize.
What kind of movies were you?
I mean, this is straight almost all of it, but it was mainly Disney movies.
Okay,
I remember watching Titanic, man. As a kid, I was probably like 7.
Oh, you're doing watching Titanic.
I don't even know. Listen, it's the era of VHSs, guys.
Oh my!
Right, we're talking about being in different generations. I
haven't heard of VHS.
VHS,
so
I still got some
long.
at the crib too.
Me too.
Like straight up VHS, man. And Titanic was a 2 cassette shit, bro. It was you gotta think one out, you gotta put the other one in, bro.
And then you had the dual ones.
Oh, you gotta freaking. You remember you had to rewind after you're done, or it's gonna be at. Oh man, those days were rough, bro. I'm thankful for technology when I think about some of these things. But anyway, so. Titanic. It was just there. My mom had it. My mom was a big movie person. Watched that. I remember crying.
I was just about to ask, did he cry?
Oh, 100%. I was like 6, 7 years old. I cried, bro. I was like,
crazy.
Jack, why don't you fucking bro, save the man, bro. What you mean? But yeah, so different types of movies. It wasn't just like kids, cartoon, all that stuff. It was just different array of genres. And so bring it back here, and I'm like, damn, like, I'm watching a movie now. I'm not the guy you want to watch a movie with if it's not a well-done movie, okay? I'm going to tell you each line. The next line every actor is saying. Yeah. If I don't have it word for word, it'll be close. Like whatever main word I'm using, it'll just might be like your pronouns might be different or whatever. Like little prefix words might just be different. But for the most part, the idea of whatever line I say is usually what they end up saying. So all these things, I'm like, damn, like this is before it, like that facet of Bishop Empire. I'm like, geez, okay, cool. Like I'm pretty good at calling out lines in movies or whatever, right? Pretty decent at drawing. I remember in high school, like big portfolio, pretty damn good for somebody who didn't put enough time. Things were very, very, very well done for being an amateur in most of these things. Now bringing it back, so I'm really loving this whole movie thing and I enjoyed the process of making that intro video. And I figured, and this is like in a span of a few weeks, right? It's not something that came about in terms of deciding this is what I think I really want to do.
Yeah.
And then once that was said and like, yo, I think this is really what I want to do. And then I just took it and I'm flying with it, man. So like I wrote my first book, but not published, which still, I mean, it's still a great feat to be able to even finish a manuscript at all.
I was gonna say, man, it's a big accomplishment.
Big accomplishment. Just to write a whole book. I'm like, damn, like I actually wrote a whole book, edited the whole thing. The only reason why it didn't get published, at least to my opinion, is when it comes to publishing, the market is very much like what is being sold right now, what's hot, right? So agents didn't feel like they could sell the book, so none of them, like, I guess, took the bait and wanted to represent me.
Was that actually what happened?
So I went out to look for. So when you get published, just a quick little rant. Publishing, you can either decide whether or not, when it comes to like prose, this is actual like fiction books or even nonfiction for the most part, it's usually traditional or non-traditional. Mm-hmm. Non-traditional means you're doing this independent, you're doing the whole thing. You're going to look for you're going to look for someone to edit your thing. You're going to look for somebody to draw your cover of your book. The whole 9, you're going to advertise and all this. And I said, nah, I wanted to focus on the art aspect of it. Again, like going back to the video that I made for Bishop Empire, I really enjoyed the creativity part of it.
Yeah.
So I said, I want to focus on that. So I'm doing traditional. So which then would mean I need to go look for an agent. The agent, once they decide to represent me, they'd be the one to go do the selling, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, so I went to go try to look for agents and all that stuff. And and I figured again, I think I might have sent like 80 something. You know what didn't deter me a whole lot too? Everybody knows Harry Potter, obviously.
Of course.
And so J.K. Rowling, which like the girl that wrote, the only billionaire writer, guys, by the way.
No way.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, legend in the
billionaire. Game. Yeah. She's a boss. But she sent out, I think 99 was the thing of queries. So it's like you're sending out your CV, like your resume, essentially to these agents. And then with a little like snippet, abstract of the book, explain what the book is about. And then you're hoping somebody likes it enough to represent you. So if she went through 99 people and then on the 100th is when somebody took a bait, and then long story short, we see where
Look at
she's
her
at
now.
now, right?
That's crazy.
Crazy.
That's like the KFC story, by the way.
Bro. Crazy. McDonald's story, the whole thing. I
KFC
mean, literally.
did the same shit. 100th investor. They said, okay.
Yeah,
continue.
they took the, they gave him a chance, and
Yeah.
it turned out pretty decent. Now I always think about this, right? The 99 people beforehand, like kicking themselves in
You
the
know
head.
what I
They're
mean?
Like, damn it, man, I missed out on that. I'm talking about billionaire, bro. But yeah, so I went out that route and then went to look for agents, and I guess to my best knowledge, I figured it's not something that like is looking. Actually, I can't even say best knowledge. Some of them replied
Was
to me.
it fiction or nonfiction?
It was fiction. So it's
Okay.
fiction, young adult, contemporary, which means essentially again young adult, which teens. Contemporary is a genre, which that means it could be a real life situation. Like the book could happen in real life, as opposed to like fantasy, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Right, so that one was contemporary, but yeah. So one of the agents actually did say this is not something I think I can sell right now. So I got a lot of that. Like that seemed to have been the theme for it. But yeah. So didn't deter me at all. So my whole thing now was I wanted to go into that directing and screenwriting once I felt like I was comfortable. I do have these vice. I'm sure like you guys do too sometimes. Not in this specific regard, but not wanting to jump into something. Because I guess you're scared, but there's that saying where it's always like, if it scares you, do it, right?
100%.
Right. So I'd made the decision maybe a week ago, and I think I'm jumping into it because the whole thing I was delaying going into the industry, specifically Hollywood, because I wanted to work on my craft of writing. So let me write books instead first, and then I'll get into screenwriting. So I had a whole idea for my next book. But this past week, I don't know, something's just been speaking to me. It's like, do the thing you want to do. Do the thing you want to do. So, yeah, the next thing is I'm scratching the actual book thing, and then we're going to writing a screenplay.
I love it, man. I love it, bro.
Screenplay,
Because
yeah.
it's either you're your greatest ally or enemy, bro.
It's exactly it. You are literally your biggest enemy or your biggest asset. I mean, we're humans at the end of the day, so it's a whole lot of, you get scared of doing something because it's unfamiliar. We're talking about getting comfortable and uncomfortable. Full circle
That's a
with the
damn
conversation.
fact. That's a damn
That
fact.
is, I feel uncomfortable. I'm like, fuck, I don't know a whole lot about it. Because you really think about the craft itself, it is so different from writing a book to a screenplay. I don't know if you ever printed out a screenplay. I've printed out
No.
I don't even know why.
I'm not even a movie guy, really,
I literally printed out, straight out of Compton.
Yeah.
I was looking for a few different ones just so I can see what they look like. I printed out the whole movie on paper.
Damn.
I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest.
I
with
didn't
you.
know
Oh
that was
yeah,
a thing either.
a screenplay, it is the weirdest thing to read. Because if you read a screenplay, it'll literally say, car driving down the road with a lot of scenic view with grass and stuff. Like it'll have the description of everything.
And like
Just,
so and so
man,
taps you on the shoulder.
yeah, someone taps you on the
yeah.
shoulder. He looks down and looks up. That's like the whole freaking movie isn't like that. It's annoying, bro.
Well,
And you get dialogue. So different than a book. A book, so people always say this, and it's true. A difference between a book and a screenplay or a movie is a book you get in the head of a character. You don't ever get in the head of a character in a movie because you see their action is depicting what more or less they're thinking. Like someone goes like this. What does that look like?
Exactly.
I look disappointed. I look sad, right? So I don't even have to write that. I just say he drops his head and he shakes his head in disappointment. I can just say that. Whereas like in a book, you're writing, oh man, like Didier thought about such and such that happened and it reminded him of this moment, and now it's just
Gets more in
so
depth.
different. It's
He
very in depth.
side with disbelief.
Exactly. So it's
and-
very much you're in the head of a character as opposed to in a movie. It's just like everything's descriptive. So it's gonna be what do you call it? It's definitely gonna be not a challenge. It's gonna be a new territory. So I'm gonna have to kind of do my due diligence and learning. But one thing I'm gonna say with myself, I know though, a big strength of mine. Once I am interested in something, I love something, I know this is what I want to do, I will become an expert at that.
You're gonna kill it.
Straight up, I will
You
become an
just
expert at
described
it.
the power of the subconscious mind.
Like straight, dude. Like
The conscious mind tells it to be, then it will
And it's
formulate
done.
a way to do it.
It's
you know
done.
What I mean? Yeah.
I'm telling you, that book, you know how many times I read it? 3 times.
I believe
3
it, bro.
times from front to back. The first time I read it, I was like, what am I reading? I understood it to a superficial level. And then I was like, cool, all right. And then the meditation thing started, and then I read it a second time. I was like, all right, I'm seeing things. I'm like, did I read this book? Because a lot of few things I'm like, I don't remember reading this before. That's just in general, even without the meditation or what. When you read
Pretty
something
normal.
over and over, you get to see different things. But I was just connecting. Funny, I'm reading a book about subconscious thinking and subconscious mind, and I'm getting more in my own subconscious thinking because I'm doing this meditation, taking care of my body, all that stuff. And read it a second time, third time, dude, it was locked in. So that whole power of the subconscious, I got to unlock. And then just to be creative to even begin with, understand what you need to be able to pull or where you need to go to be able to even do something like that. This is anything. You're an artist, creating music, creating a business, just to be able to even see the vision of it. This, my favorite rapper, he said this one time, and I was like, damn. So Nipsey Hussle is my favorite rapper of all time.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. This is my dog right there, bro. And I want to bring it back to his brand, The Marathon Continues, which really like encapsulate our living, mantra, really. This dude said, I guess it was an interview of some sort. He's sitting there. He's like, yo, listen, can you understand the power of being able to see something, feel something, hear something nobody else can? I mean, no one else can see and hear and feel this one thing that you're able to see and hear and feel. And then you're like, you know what? You deem this thing so damn good, so valuable that you want to share with other people. You're able to fucking take that and extract it from your subconscious mind and make it a thing that everyone else can see. So perfect example is music. You have this whole thing you went through in life, blah, 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 blah. You're able to think of this thing, even producers, I'm talking about music producers, whatever, to be able to see something and then you're like, nobody else can see this. Yeah. It's trapped in here. Just like a granite. You seen a big rock? It just looks like a slab of rock.
And then you cut it open.
And then you start, you see this picture, you see this statue. Nobody else can, right? And then until they start shaping it, and the whatever months later that it takes, years later that it takes to be able to make some crazy art like that. And then you look back and everyone's like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe something. In your head, you had this in your head the whole time. Now they can see it. So that's me in a movie. That's me in a book. I'm like, yo, once I see this thing, bro, it's game over. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going straight in for that.
Screenwriter when he kind of gave you the description, because I kind of gave it raw and thick the other day.
Right.
I was saying the same thing. I was saying that you have to have some level of insanity.
Insane. Straight up.
For you to go out into the world when all odds are against you.
Against you, completely.
All odds. Not one odd, two odds, or all odds are against you.
All of it.
And then do what you got to do and make it happen.
I mean, you literally got to do what you got to do.
Literally.
Straight up.
It's you made it very vivid, man. It's like 50 Cent. If you're watching this, brother, Curtis Jackson, get my man here. He'll do power right here.
Next power, baby. I got
Literally,
you.
He'll do your off script. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll play Kanan. The Lebanese version. I'll give you the Habibi version.
Man. Funny enough, you say this. I feel like just our culture so different to like what the North American culture is.
So different,
right? And I love Canada for that reason, just the diversity aspect of it.
I agree, man. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much stuff that like can be done. I literally, it's weird to say, but like I'll make sure I'll explain why it's so different and why it needs to be done. So like you take Titanic, right? Back on Titanic. So obviously it's based on a true story or true events. The actual story itself is not real. Like the actual love story between Jack and Rose is not. The characters are not real. The story is the boat hit an iceberg and it fucking flipped or whatever, right? So I follow this thing on Instagram called African Archives, and it goes back to just giving little snippets and little factual stuff on Black history generally. And one post they made was speaking on this Haitian guy. I'm Haitian, in case you guys didn't know.
Well aware.
And with the first name too, they can't miss it.
Yeah.
But I seen this post, and the guy making the post talks about this guy who was the son of a slaver. Like his dad owned a slave and then his mom was a slave, right? He's mixed guy, mulatto guy. And he lived in France most of his life. He obviously got like heckled at that time, racism and all that stuff. And he was actually the only black guy that was on Titanic, and he died. And he, like I said, he was Haitian. Now the whole thing was,
There was only one black guy in the Titanic.
in Titanic.
I
Yeah,
did
and it
not
was
know that.
guy. Yeah, he was
Oh,
the only
legit.
guy.
Wow.
This is the.
This is for real. He
Wow,
was the
okay.
only black guy on the
I
boat.
did not know that.
And he was traveling to go to America from France or whatever. And so that story, just to kind of say this, that story went on unnoticed. And I say this where Canada is such a place of great diversity, because it allows so many people like us to bring light to a culture that's really taboo. You don't really see us. I mean, yeah, us as in, we're talking about like so much Spanish, Arabic, Haitian. It's usually just like what we see Hollywood is what it is right now, right? So I feel like there's so much of that. I'm gonna say this, I say Spanish, but there is I have this idea where it's Narcos, but like Haitian version. And I say this because it's based on a true story, because we quickly talked about it a few weeks ago. Haiti is run by 5 families. Just like we know how the Italian mob was in the tri-state area, in the era that it was in the 60s, 70s. 5 families. Same thing in Haiti. There's 5 families in Haiti. And to bring it to the level of corruption that is right now, there is such a, and I say this because there's so much trauma and stuff, but I see the story in it as well. And that's why I'm like, damn, I truly am a movie writer at the core, because I always see story in the randomest thing when you shouldn't even be thinking story, and I'm seeing story. And then there's so many things go unnoticed because people don't care to really see it. I think it's only up to us to be able to bring those forward.
I love
what
that.
I mean? Who else is going to do it
No,
if we're
I love
not
that.
doing it? So that's what I'm saying. We have such a huge responsibility to be able to have this platform, and at the same time be in this generation, as much as we harp on how BS it is, all the crap that we got to deal with, social media and all that. But it's still a platform at the end of the day. You decide what kind of like content you want to put on there.
I'm massive on self accountability. Remember how I said it's always your fault?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
One of my favorite lines.
It's always your fault.
One of my favorite lines.
You know what was incredible? Actually, I was just telling this to George, and I was telling him, you know what's incredible? I was never a book reader, bro.
Mm-hmm. Me neither.
When they say street smarts, I'm not even trying to.
Street smart.
I'm not elevating, or I'm tooting my own horn or anything like that, but it's like highly elevated street smarts.
Yep.
I didn't know
It comes naturally.
Exactly. So all the maneuvers I've ever made and everything else, I never had a definition for it.
Yeah.
I would just formulate something in my brain, because it's funny. I've always played chess, never on the board.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But I've always formulated something. I'd execute, and then I'd have like 6 different moves of actions or 20 different moves of action that I can go into.
You're looking, yeah.
And then when I started, and I'm like, man, I can't get into reading. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept trying. And then finally, you know,
It clicked.
slowly but gradually.
Yeah.
No, I won't tell you I'm still the biggest reader. I won't lie to you. And then remember, I was telling you at some point, I'm like, man, there was an actual definition for. I did that. There was an actual definition for that.
When you
I
look
didn't
back,
even
you're like,
know
wait,
that.
I didn't know it was called that, or I don't know if it was worded like that. You've been doing it.
Exactly. So
Been
I never
doing it.
knew. I'm like, wow. So these are tactics. So as much as you feel like the cool part I find is sometimes you feel like you've innovated. Where you're like, bro, this was done 150 years ago.
It's been done.
And I didn't even know it was actually formulated to that degree. And you're like, okay, let me take a look at that. And how can I mold that into my style?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was saying when it came to reading. So I told him, start getting into reading, you know, because it's very interesting. And then as a businessman, you know what? The definition of insanity is doing the same shit over and over again and expecting a different result. And then, you know what? Shout out to Dan Martell. I'd love to do a podcast with this man. He made it.
A legend,
you know it, yeah. So he
I
made
know
a
exactly
book
what
called Buy Back Time.
Yeah.
And a concept that hit me extremely hard.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and of course, George is one of my project managers in my actual business. And Sean is also the
legend.
CMO and
The legend.
yeah,
the
Sean
one and
and Don,
only.
you know?
Come on.
So they actually work with me on a day-to-day basis.
Facts.
The amount of running around with sometimes a lot of unorganized movements, it starts to become extremely chaotic. So one of the things that when I was thinking, I'm like, how can I formulate a strategy to really start to cutting down this extra chaos and make it more organized and flow smoother, right? So, and then buy back your time was very interesting to me because one of the concepts is he says, and I'm just giving you a bogus example because I can't remember the exact saying. But let's say if this task that you do, you're a high performer, you're the owner or whatever you are, an executive, whoever you are, if this task specifically generates you $100, right?
We were just talking about.
And then this task over there either generates you $10 or can even cost you $5, right? They never said the costing part. I'm just adding the costing part because I'm legit in a business with many employees. So, and then I think to myself, I'm like, what a genius. So he's like, then focus on the tasks that generate the $100, farm out the tasks that only generate $10 because you want to focus on the high value
stuff that's actually
so
bringing
so you're buying back your time and then you're putting it into someone else's hands and focusing. So in reality, what is it telling you? Harness the true potential of one.
Yeah.
And then of course the people that can help you with the day-to-day move it around so it can be more efficient. That's just so anyways, I don't want to go too much of a rant, but it was very interesting, the whole reading of the book. Or books in general, you really start to shed light on things that you didn't even know. And I find, you know what? Maybe you'll relate to this one. I came from the hood, you know? And a lot of the times, and I at this point, I very much shit on the place because it's so ignorant, bro.
Very much so. I agree.
Because the things that elevate you and do well by you and will put you in a place where you want to be, they'll be like, what are you doing? It's not cool to them.
Nah.
You know, so then they deter you from doing different things. Like even one of the things is once again, so you have that hood slang speech. I've had to take it upon myself and we kind of keep each other accountable that stop saying it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it becomes a disease, bro. You can never get to the next ranks or levels. And I always gave this to Andrew Tate. There's only one thing I give Andrew Tate that I give it to him well. Is he's probably one of the only guys out there that's so well articulated.
Very much.
And makes it sound attractive.
Yeah. 1,000%. I agree. I listen to this dude, I'm like, I do know how to talk. 100%.
And what I think about you guys, it's very dangerous. For everyone
I want to hear
this. I just pointed at the guy automatically. I want to hear this. Asian and barbecue just took over the country. You know what I mean?
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy.
What I find very dangerous about guys like you that have that kind of mind, it's you really can manipulate and create this beautiful thing, a story that's it's very encompassing. And that can draw an audience, but also draw somebody you're talking to directly or indirectly. And can really help get to the next level for you guys, because when you go to sell a vision, you're portraying it in a way that not many people could.
You say this because it's funny you say this because this is like the third time in a different way you've mentioned this, and it's amazing. It's you can't do it alone, and I have this thing where like I want something to be a certain exact way.
Yeah.
And my cousin tells me this all the time. You're a leader. You're a leader. You're a leader. Because the whole being able to make anybody comfortable in the room. I mean, I'm talking about from your 90-year-old to your 1-year-old, right? And I never looked at it like that. It's just, to me, I'm just being me. I'm able to
adjust.
And that's the thing. And I think we all got different sides of us, right? Like you don't speak the same way you speak to your mom, to your homeboy. Yeah. It's a different self, right? And I'm able to get in these different selves depending on who it is I'm talking to, right? I don't know. I think for the most part, I might come off to like the stereotype is a scary black dude, but I know to get the scrawniest old 90-year-old lady, white lady to just be comfortable and they feel cool talking to this black guy. And then I do think it's dangerous as you mentioned it, right? And it's just pretty interesting. And my cousin's telling me you're a leader, and that's a trait of a leader. And I look at it, I'm like, you know what? It's cool. But then to bring it back to the whole we can't do it alone thing, it's a little frustrating sometimes. And that's one of the things I find that I have to learn and figure out is the not everyone has the same vision, or at least even if you're able to explain something a certain way, people still have a different perspective of looking at it. Just because like it's a different upbringing for each people. So your bag of experience that you're able to bring to this situation allows you only to see it because this is the crap you've gone through, or this guy is the crap he's gone through.
Yeah.
So everybody has a different perspective. And it's very much a little difficult because people were not able to see it a certain way. And then this vision has to come out the exact same way you see it because that's your vision. So it's a little difficult, but at the end of the day, you still can't do it alone. We're talking about, like, you know what I mean, buying your time to be able to give it back and focus on the things that really are bringing you bigger dividends. And it doesn't necessarily be monetary value, like it's just value in general. You know what I mean? So it's tough. So I find that I'm struggling with that a little bit.
It's extremely tough. The reason why I'm saying that,
because it's your baby you're creating, so it's like
it's you. The problem is you're that's the, no, bro.
Mhm.
The problem is the expectation.
that's exactly
You
it.
expect
Yep.
that you're
You said it,
supposed
you
to
said
think
it.
like me and do what I'm saying and act like me. And but
Like, why can't you see it the way I'm
but
seeing
then
it?
but if that then I had to realize
I feel
then
like I know
they'd
what
be
you're about to
sitting in
say
your
right now.
exactly. They'd be
They
sitting
would
in
be
your
sitting there if they
your
was like
seat.
you. Period.
So
That's exactly it.
yeah, no, you're on the right track with that one, man. It's definitely a grind, bro. And that's what I'm saying. With a guy like you, you're too dangerous, bro. Especially if you hone it in, sharpen it.
Yeah.
You just gotta do it, bro.
That's it. It comes down to that. It's just you got to jump in, and just a perfect example of this: parenting. Right?
Oh
you know
my
this,
God,
dude.
100%.
Nobody will ever be ready, no matter how much somebody will tell you something about. Okay, like I mean, the day-to-day stuff, changing diapers, that's easy stuff. You know what I mean? It's about like the actual things you don't expect that other people have gone through. But it's so weird. First of all, like there's a lot of things in parenting that a lot of people are not telling you. The actual things you would need to actually hear.
Yeah.
You're not getting those things. Like
Facts.
I go through things. I'm like, why couldn't they tell me this instead of about diaper, how to change diaper? That's like I could figure that out. But you know what I mean? It's just like parenting. It's just that's just the way it goes. So now it's just interesting to be able to kind of navigate those waters. But
So
yeah.
I would want to ask you is how long would it take for you to actually launch?
So I mean,
what does that take? So I'm very interested because I'm obviously I want to do media and entertainment,
Right.
but obviously not what you're doing. I'm doing something different.
Yeah. No,
But what is it
honestly,
gonna?
this is amazing.
Thanks, brother. But what is it gonna take for you to start? What's the steps that you got to do now?
I mean, it all comes down. I think business comes down to. I mean, if we have to pick one thing to really sort of get business and entrepreneurship to stand on, is exposure, right? Networking, exposure, being able to have eyes on it, whatever. So before Bishop Empire can truly really be Bishop Empire and everything else that comes with it, because at the end of the day, we say it's a brand, right? And the brand is doing things the way you want to do it, as opposed to the way it's expected of you to do it. It's going to come down again, like I said, exposure. So now it's going to come down to, yeah, listen, where's the movie at? It's just we're going to have to write the product, make the product, sell the product, and once we're out and about, then everything else comes out of that. You know what I mean? It's like that. You go into property investment. You can't deem yourself I don't even know what the right word is to be the the property guy until you get that first property. You know what I mean? So you can't get that bucket full until you get that first drop. So it's gonna come down to that first movie.
D, you know me, I love you, G.
Talk to me, baby.
My question to you is, since we're running out of time, what's your message to the folks out there?
Ooh, man, the message. Honestly, I always hear this said, and I honestly feel like it's underrated. Or I can't even say it's underrated. It's just I don't think people are actually taking that message every time I hear it. Even me, sometimes I just let it kind of go over my head. But I'll reiterate it here because I think it's very important. Consistency. Even when you can't see the shit, bro, you got to go. You got to go. You already seen the vision at the beginning. That's all you need. To me, that's like God just spoke something to you. Like that is the most valuable thing. You have the vision, dude. The rest is actually pretty fucking easy.
Execute.
It's just execution, right? You mean the details of it is very much okay. You got to write the plan, blah 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 blah. That's like it's doable. It's easy. Right? It's just the execution, but then the consistency, even when things are not going. I think, honestly, if I have to say one thing, it's that. Be consistent. Remember exactly why you started. And then that will always bring back that fire, even if it's a little bit, to remember, like, this is what I started out to do, and then I just got to keep going. And it's always, it reminds you of this picture I'm sure you guys seen. It's that, it's like a cartoon, and it's two people. This one guy is just, you got the what do you call them things, right? Yeah, and then dude's going at it, and he's I don't know, a few meters away from just hitting that big goal line, but he's going. You can see the intensity. He ain't stopping.
Oh, and
Whereas you got the other dude is literally
on
one
top
hit
of
away.
him. Yeah, under him.
Right
yeah,
under him.
Yeah,
one
yeah,
hit
yeah.
away to be able to just get that goal line. And he's just turning around. The picture's him
walked
turning
away.
back. Right? Do you want to be that guy or that girl?
That's powerful, man. I think
love
that's
it,
the
right?
I think that's the recipe to success, man. You know, if anybody just heard, whoever that just heard that, take that to heart, because I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't for that perseverance and that consistency, I'm telling you, you would be amazed
100%.
of what you're gonna miss out on. And it's not just about entrepreneurship. I want everybody to understand. I'm a
Life.
very big guy when it comes down to intrapreneurship.
That's it.
You know, you don't have to always expect people to want to open the business or whatever. Some people are like, I want to ride with you and your idea and your vision. And can I help you grow in here?
What do you need help
Show
with?
those guys their loves and their flowers, mentor them, make sure they're well equipped and well
That's
aware
it.
of what they're gonna do. And I'm telling you, you'd be amazed on how you're gonna
Amazing.
flourish.
And I want to bring it back to one more thing because I brought up my favorite rapper of all time.
Oh, I love Nipsey Hussle. Go ahead. I can
Right?
hear this all
And
day.
this thing and the whole brand as a whole. The marathon continues, which goes back reiterating on the consistency part. The life is not a race, not a sprint. It's about pacing yourself. There's obviously times where you just want to dig in a little more, right? But at the end of the day, life is a marathon.
I love you, Didier, man.
That's it. Love you, bruh. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure, my friend. I mean, I seen the stuff you're doing here. I'm like, boy, I gotta get on this, man.
That's it, man.
So I'm
We're here
excited.
today.
It
If
was
you guys
great.
like what you saw, show some love. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button. And stay tuned because we're going to start posting when he starts to get ready and rocking. We want to start showing some support and love to our boy.
Show some love to my boy, man. He doing it.
We'll see you.